Yo, what's going on, man? Today is May the 25th, 2024. It's your boy Chris, and this is the ChrisBeCappinn NBA Show, where we are live on Twitter, also live on YouTube as well. We got one game in the NBA, one Eastern Conference Finals game, game three between the Boston Celtics and the Indiana Pacers, which we'll jump straight into. And then we got five WNBA games, man. It's this loaded slate for the WNBA. I'm excited for the games today. Got a couple looks that I want to share with you guys, kind of let you guys know how I'm looking at the games for today. So we're gonna jump right into it, man. I didn't get a chance. I'm always honest and transparent with you guys. I didn't get a chance to go back and check the comments for predicted score. Well, actually, I did. I didn't see a lot of winners. But I got to do a deep dive. I know Tasha had a play yesterday on the live stream that I didn't get a chance to check. I see Mark. He had Timberwolves last night, and the Mavs did win. So we may have not had a winner yesterday, as it relates to the T-shirt giveaway. But 1-0 in the NBA yesterday. We won Minnesota first half. Whew, thank God we got in and got out. Luka is a bad man. Luka is bad. And he was able to hit that step back game winner, going from left to right on Rudy Gobert last night, man. And they're down 0-2 just like that. Series shifts to Dallas. I think game might be tomorrow. So 1-0 in the NBA yesterday. The numbers are the units are updated. I'm still down 5.5 units on the NBA in the playoffs, but I didn't update the 27 to 25. It should be 28 and 25 now. And the reason why I'm down so many units is because the plays have been a lot smaller. I started, 1 unit, 1.5 units in the playoffs, and I've been slowly but surely trying to work my way back. So hopefully we can kind of keep it pushing here, man, and find some winners. Like I said, as far as the T-shirt giveaway, I didn't see anybody who won last night because I think the whole world was on the Minnesota Timberwolves to bounce back, at least in the comment section. But if you guys wanting to get in here, members, let me know who you think is going to win tonight's game, and what do you think the final score is going to be. One guess per game. First guess, your only guess, and of course, you guys have all day until tip off. We'll send some ChrisBeCappinn NBA T-shirts out. I did send some out yesterday as well. Shout out to my guy Rick. I got to put his in the mail today. I'm gonna send him a cap, a ChrisBeCappinn cap. But let's jump into it for today, man. I do want to go through a couple of the comments real quick before we get started. My guy Mark is in here. He says, "Good morning, Chris and Cappers. Let's make it a great day." All praise picks says top of the morning. What's up, Coach? This is Money Making Saturdays. Left lane LaFleur says, "Good morning, everybody. Let's eat." What up, Justin? Justin, your T-shirt is in the mail, my brother. I will send you the tracking number. That's on my to-do list. I've been super busy, but that's on my to-do list, Justin. Your T-shirt, you should get it within the next few business days. OJ says, "Good morning, Chris. Sparks killed me last night." The first half was great for the Sparks. But just like most WNBA teams, the bottom teams, you can always find a way to either to play on them or fade them. And in the WNBA, we've been talking about these games being so competitive. If you catch one of these teams down, plus 6.5, plus 7.5, I say you just fire on it. And it was the Fever last night. Fever needed that game because they probably get smoked today, but we'll talk about it in a second. Let's see. Love to see this right here from All Praise. He went 8-1 on the NBA 8-1 NBA MLB pick run. Okay, up 15 units in 5 days. Okay, what up, Eric? Betsy says Hamby rebounds was easy money. Yeah, I said she was averaging 12.5 or 12.7, 13.7. Derek Hamby is crazy right now. Jamie says, Phillies hurt my soul yesterday. Need some get back. What up, Chris and fam? Yeah, appreciate everybody for tapping in, man. Skrilla, good morning to you. Chad says, read all points, putting kids through college. Love this comment by Chad, man. And I had Nas Reed. Remember, if you guys go back and watch yesterday's show, he was on the short list over, 13.5 points plus rebounds. And Rudy Gobert under his rebounds at 12.5, minus 120. I talked about that being a link. I didn't play either one of them, but I mean, they cashed pretty easily. Rudy Gobert finished with just 10 rebounds yesterday. And Damien says Luka points over live. Dagger 3 also got Gafford at a plus 1,100 almost. And Nas Reed at 20 to start the fourth. Okay. What up to my guy Tariq? He says, good morning, Chris. Everyone first half cashed, and I live bet the under when it was at 223.5 cashed. I did lose Timberwolves for a game, but not bad overall. Like to see that. I did think that the scoring would slow down. It definitely did. What up, Nets Bet? Says, what's up, brother? Cash Mavs money line, both games. He says the Mavs roster is sick. Luka got live threats and defenders, and that's a fact, man. That is a fact. It does look good for them. All right, a couple more comments before we get started. Jay Chip says, I had a funny feeling Dallas was going to win. Thank God I got in and got out with Wolves in the first quarter and the first half. Whew. Justin like the Pacers team total over 107.5 today. He says Pacers over 4.5 games is in his pocket. Talk a little bit about that. Let's just go ahead and get started there, man. Let's go ahead and get started right there. So only game we got in the NBA today is the Boston Celtics and Indiana Pacers. And I didn't even have time to make graphics for this one. But I'll talk you through. I got plenty of notes on the game. So injury report, first and foremost, Xavier Tillman did miss game 2. He's listed as questionable, potentially could return. I think it was some personal reasons. Luke Cornett is listed as doubtful. I think it could be pretty big, but Boston has enough size, and the Pacers don't utilize their size outside of Pascal Siakam. Like, I don't think Luke Cornett, is going to be missed that much. Let's just put it like that. I mean, we talked about this in game 2. Jason Tatum could legit play the 5 because it's not like they have a bunch of guys that's about to go kill him in the paint, the Pacers, that is. And Boston being such a great defense. Porzingis is listed as out, and you got Halliburton, most important player for the Pacers, of course, listed as questionable. He was seen limping with a visible limp, getting on the bus after game 2, getting on the team bus after game 2 the other night. And it's a pretty quick turnaround as well. And he only got 1 day of rest given his injury, and it's the same hamstring that he injured in the last game. I think he missed the last 15 minutes of the game, 14 minutes of like actual gameplay. So that's a big injury here. I think that Halliburton will probably try to tough it out. I'm not sure if hamstrings are very, very delicate injuries. Like we saw what happened with, a couple guys so far that's had hamstring injuries. They're not something that you could just, you're not just gonna magically fix a hamstring injury. I wanted to say that as well. So going back to it, I think the only graphic that I did have was this, right? I think first thing I did when I was looking into this game was, I know how good Boston is at on the road. We'll talk about that. But the game 1 and game 2 differences. So game 1 is on the left side, game 2 is on the right side. In game 1, Indiana had the things that jumped out to me. Indiana had 38 assists on 53 made shots. Remember, they almost stole game 1, that game with the overtime. 38 assists on 53 made shots. In game 2, that assist number came down. 15 assists came down, 23 assists on 44 shots. It tells me that Boston's defense was a lot better at taking away some of the things that Indiana really wanted to do. Game 1 also saw the Pacers score 32 points off Boston's 15 turnovers. In game 2, I'm just comparing left and right. Game 2, Indiana scored just 12 points off Boston's 12 turnovers. So Boston turnovers came down, and they did a much better job of getting back in transition. Gave up 20 less points, off turnovers. And game 1, Indiana had 14 fast break points. Game 2, Indiana only had 7 fast break points. Boston's defense definitely came to play, as we kind of projected, which is why we took Boston first half in that spot. Game 1 also saw the Pacers score 56 points, bottom left corner, 56 points in the paint. Boston limited Indiana to just 34 points in the paint in game 2, and they were a plus 20 in game 2. As in game 1, they were a plus 2 in points in the paint. And that's a big part of it here. Like, when we think about Boston, a lot of it is, they just want to shoot a bunch of threes. They shot 45 threes in game 1, shot 37 in game 2. So they shoot less threes in game 2, and they still end up winning the game. They were plus 6 from the three-point line in game 1. They were a plus 12 in game 2 with less three-pointers. So their defense didn't even play better from the three-point line. They just played better as far as getting downhill. A lot of it was Jaylen Brown after being snubbed from the All NBA team. He came out with a vengeance, of course, ended up with 40 points. And I am of the mindset that the Pacers will be, I think that they'll try to play. You coming back to Gainbridge Field, stadium. Like they will be out there and they will try to play really, really hard in front of their home crowd to get back in the series. I just don't see it happening though. I think Boston is I think they'll be locked in. I think game one was enough for them. Now, can they have a letdown spot here? They could potentially. This series is going different than the first two rounds there. Remember, Boston won game one, would lose game two in both for the first round and second round. And then, of course, almost lost game one. They smashed the Pacers in game two. So will Boston be focused? They're a much better defensive team. We know that already. And offensively, they're just as good as the Pacers are, which is why you see them go over their team total in both of these games so far. Couple trends I wanted to share real quickly. Boston is, and this is another reason why I really like Boston today. They're 4-0 straight up, 3-1 against the spread on the road so far in the playoffs. 3-1 to the under. They're only allowing 92 points per game. Boston is holding their opponents to 42% shooting from the field, 31% from the three-point line. They're +9 in the rebounding category as well. And this is all on the road in their 4 road games so far. Indy, not an easy out at home. They are 11-0 at home in their last 11 dating back to the regular season, 6-0 straight up in the playoffs as well at the crib, 4-2 against the number. And they're winning by an average of almost 15 points per game. They're 4-2 to the over in those games. They've actually gone over their team total in 5 of the 6. So I couldn't talk anybody off of, this team total at 107.5. I'm not getting there with it though. Pacers have shot the ball well at home, 51% from the field, 38% from the three-point line. And what's even more intriguing, as we kind of cipher away from some of those numbers, was I was looking into the first quarter, trying to figure out how I thought the game was going to start. These margins are crazy. Boston is a +7 in the first quarter in their 4 road games so far. So they've been winning the first quarter. I think it's like 30-23. Indy is a +9 in the first quarter. They actually smoking teams in the first quarter when they've been at home so far through their 6 games. So you definitely have a collision coming here in the first quarter for both teams, and both teams have been done really well defensively in the first quarter as well. I did want to touch a little bit on the influence of the Western Conference Finals. I think if you're Boston, and I think that they are absolutely paying attention to what's going on out west, you have to think that you can't play with your food here. You got to take care of the pace, especially with Dallas going up 2-0. You got to come out here and win this game and take a commanding 3-0 lead, because that takes the pressure off you a little bit. Even if you lose game 4 in Indiana, you win game 5. And I think that's a big part of Boston. If they're going to win the championship, I do think the more rested team is going to have the advantage, whoever that is that gets to the finals. If we remember back 2 years ago when Boston went to the finals against the Golden State Warriors, I vividly remember this. They were coming off 2 grueling game 7s. I think they went 7 with the Bucks, and I don't even know who the other team was. It might have been the Miami Heat. But I remember them coming off 2 game 7s. They were gassed by the time they got to meet Golden State in the finals. And they of course ended up losing that series 4-2, losing game 6 in Boston at that. So I do think that that's a lesson that Boston has, probably persevere here. And it's another reason why I like Boston here. A couple league-wide trends I wanted to go through. I looked at road favorites in game 3 who won and covered game 2. 52-23 straight up, 45-28-2 against the number. That's 61.6%. Says that the Celtics win and cover today. And I looked at road favorites laying 7 points or more in the series game 3, 15-3 straight up, 12-6 against the number as well. So these road favorites, if the line is strong, it tells you that the road team is most of the time they're gonna win and cover. 12-6 against the spread, which is 67% as well. And if they're number 1 seed and they're laying 7 points or more, 10-2, both straight up and against the spread. That's a really strong number, and that's something that I'm looking to fade here. So I do like Boston. I didn't play the game yet, but first half, I shared this last night on Twitter. You can get them at -2.5. We know Boston's been the best first half team in the NBA, probably not just this season, but probably over the last 5-10 seasons. If you go back and look at the first half numbers, I think they've covered every spread so far in the first half on the road in their 4 games. And I know the Pacers have been good at home, but I just think Boston, like I said, they're a much better defensive team. Pacers just want to play offense, and I think Boston brings it on the defensive end as well. So Favorite play for the whole game is the Boston Celtics first half minus the 2.5. That's just where they play their best basketball. If Tyrese Halliburton doesn't play, I think the Pacers defense will be a little bit better. He has literally been barbecue chicken. It's no coincidence that Drew Holiday's had his best game, his best series so far. I think he had 28 points in the first game or something crazy. And then he also continued to cook Tyrese Halliburton. If Tyrese Halliburton out there with a bad hamstring injury, you can expect the Boston Celtics try to put him in every action that they possibly can and take advantage of a hobbled Tyrese Halliburton in this spot as well. Do the Pacers have enough to keep this game close without Halliburton? I think that becomes mindset for Boston. Boston could absolutely come out here and smoke the Celtics and smoke the Pacers, in my opinion. But if Tyrese Halliburton doesn't play, do they let up? We've seen Boston let up before. So it wouldn't surprise me if the Pacers, this number went to, plus 8.5 if Tyrese Halliburton is ruled out and the Pacers end up covering full game. So I'm going to stay off the full game, but if I do make a play, it will be Boston first half minus the 2.5. Still available at minus 115 over on BetMGM. No, I said a whole lot, but I want to go back through the comments real quick and see what you guys are thinking about this one. Let's see. Mark says have to wait for the Holly injury. Agree there. Chad says parlay all Holly unders. He likes Holly to struggle today. Drew says good luck on the Wolves first half. That you called out on the sauce yesterday. I had a bad feeling about the Wolves full game. Me too, Drew. I said on my show yesterday morning that if I like the Timberwolves, it's just and I had to stress the historical numbers to back it. All of those +7, +8s in the first half. Sometimes it takes the road team a while to settle in. And Luka and Kyrie just the best closers on the floor. Dallas defense has been really, really good. I was going to save this for game 3, but I'll tell you guys already. I was looking into both of the games. Timberwolves have really struggled to close out the games. They scored 22 points in both fourth quarters so far, and Dallas have dominated the fourth quarters. They won last night, I think it was 30-22, with +8 in the fourth quarter. That's because you got Luka and Kyrie out there. I thought a little bit of game 1 was, Minnesota coming off the game 7, kind of expecting them to run out of gas, which is why we were on Minnesota plus the 4.5 in game 1. I mean, on Dallas plus 4.5 in game 1. But man. I agree with that comment there. Next best says Cornette is useless. O'Shea Brissett, give him something different defensively off the bench here. Okay. Chad says it being a hamstring, he may try and not be able, and I would agree with that as well. Net says I think the line suggests Holly's going to sit, in my opinion. So this line did open. I think it opened at 6.5 immediately. I missed that, but I was hearing other people talk about it. And it, of course, is up to 7 right now. Like I said, if Halliburton doesn't play, it might close at 8.5. Honestly, is what I'm thinking. What up, Lightbearer? That's best says he cashed on the over in game 2, but think I'm going Boston tonight. Okay. Renato said Luke and Kyrie for president. Jamie says, I believe Tatum will bounce back tonight to cover his points at 29.5. He's hit the line in 9 of his last 10 versus the Pacers, and I can see some regression for Jaylen Brown tonight. Jaylen Brown looked like a dog 2 nights ago, man. Boy, he was going at Pascal Siakam head. And if you like the Pacers, you got to think that Pascal Siakam is going to continue to have a good game. Saw some crazy stat where he's averaging so many points and hasn't been to the free throw line yet. First player in NBA history or something like that. And Miles Turner, got to be a bounce back game for Miles Turner. They'll need him to play a lot better. He got an early foul trouble after game in the first couple minutes of game 2. So you have to think that he's going to play better as well. Mark says Pacers haven't lost a game at home during the playoffs, but if no Holly, maybe they could be done. Yeah, we also got to remember who the Pacers played at home. They played a Milwaukee Bucks team that didn't have Giannis, that had an injured Damian Lillard, and they also played in the last round a New York Knicks team that was winning off will and grit, because no OG didn't play in game 3 or game 4 that was in Indiana last year. In last series, so we got to remember that as well. Knicks were definitely a different team, home versus road, and really just super beat up. The Pacers only will be without Porzingis, and they played plenty of road games without Porzingis so far. Prince says, I think the Pacers are due. Pacers with the points. What you guys think? I'm not looking that way, but let me talk to y'all, Prince. I'm not playing the full game either. Next best says, and Boston hasn't lost on the road. One of the streaks will end. I think it's the Pacers. Agree with that. Life's a Drip, my guy. I saw your last message, Life's a Drip. I'm gonna get back to you. It's been super busy, bro, but I will get back to you. He said, new day, new money. Dante says he's definitely sitting. Why you think the point spread is at 7 at home? Come on, man. Man, all right. Dante know it. Let's follow what Dante say. Okay. OJ says I like the Pacers first half spread. I think after after that mess last game and the blowouts, they come out and play a little bit. Yeah, the Pacers are gonna play hard. That's for sure. Not gonna disagree with that. Jay Holiday says that first half sparks came through. Thanks, young ChrisBeCappinn. So yeah, first half for the Sparks was good money yesterday for sure. John says Wolves getting that Denver karma. Big Money likes the Pacers team total over 107.5 for 5 units. Scared money don't make no money. Okay, he don't care about Halliburton's status. He still think they score 108. What else we saying? What up, Tasha? Appreciate you for being here. Good morning to you. AB, what's good? Frankie, good morning. Says, what's up, Chris? Sorry I'm late. Lost a little bit of money last night with the NBA. Baseball kept me profitable. I put together a 2-leg parlay for the game. Alt full game total and Pascal Siakam points. JS Brown says that first half is -3 for Boston on DK. You can get a 2.5. I saw it all the way up to 4.5 last night for Boston. And I tweeted it out for you guys so you can see that as well. Siakam over his assist ladder for Jamie over 3.5 up to 6. What up, Joe the Gambler? Says good morning. Let's get some cash. All Praise Pick says, yo, Chris, do you think Siakam will be able to step up offensively if Halliburton's out? I think he has to. Him, TJ McConnell, you're gonna need a collective effort, and that's what the Pacers are, right? Like they have the best bench in the NBA. It's not debatable. Like go look at the numbers. I think they averaged like 37 points. Which was by far the most points. And I think their bench is averaging the most points. So it'll be by committee for sure. I'm not sure exactly who it's going to be, but Siakam's already been playing really, really well. And I don't think they have a matchup for Siakam. But I also think that Miles Turner will play a little bit better, especially after the downer in game 2. Left Lane says, Chris, the reason I look more into the team total for real, they're giving us 114.5 for Boston. Team total. Lock it in at -120. Well, it was last night. Okay. Yeah, the problem I had with that is that Boston is such an elite defense. When I looked at Boston on the road, man, Boston on the road are scoring 105 points per game. They're only scoring 105 points per game, only scoring 46 points in the second half. They've been winning with their defense. They're giving up 22 points between the second quarter and the third quarter, 22 points per quarter in the second quarter and third quarter. This defense is giving up less than 92 points. And yeah, I know the Pacers are going to try to play fast, but the Pacers defense also drastically improves. I think they're like a +14 in points scored from home, points allowed. I'm sorry, from home versus road as well. So their defense should get better, which is one of the reasons why I would only play this game towards the under. I know. Did I touch on the total? I think I did. No, I don't think I touched on the total in this game. I'll touch on the total in a second. Let you guys know because I forgot. I got notes on the total too. AB likes TJ McConnell over his points prop here. Gabe says if Holly is out, I consider taking the points when it jumps. Same thing happened against Cleveland. Yep, we talked about this when Mitchell was out and the Cavs covered big spreads at home. Yeah, I would agree with that. Left Lane says, I'm taking the over in this game. Celtics will not let up. They want to prove a point. They are over the better team. Prove a point that they are over the better team. I think you missed the word, but that's cool. Peasy, what's up, man? Appreciate you for tapping in. He says Wolves game under 214 live was an ugly loser. Appreciate this comment. Abel says, keep up the good work. John says, Jordan likes the Pacers on the money line. I knew somebody was coming with it. John says, think the game will stay close enough to take Tatum over 29.5. I kind of do, John. I'm just not really into a lot of player props right now. 29.5 is such a high number, man. Like, what if Derek White has a great game? What if Drew Holiday continues to play well? What if Luke Corton, Sam Hauser eventually has a good game on the road? Like, 30 is just a lot of points, man. I know they've been playing this game. This team is playing with a lot of pace. If Tatum's going to shoot the ball a little bit better, I feel like he's been struggling from the three-point line. I'm not into playing a lot of 29 and a half. So I don't even care if it's Luka. But don't let me talk you off, John. I'm not let me talk you off. Jordan says Pacers play better defense at home, haven't lost a game at home the entire playoffs, and Boston struggles defensively on the road. Wrong, Jordan. This is absolutely wrong. Couldn't be farther from the truth. Boston has been the best road team in the playoffs on the road. They're giving up 91.8 points per game. They've held 3 of their opponents under their team total. The Miami Heat scored 84 points in game 3. The Miami Heat scored 88 points in game 4. The Celtics gave up 93 to the Cavs in game 3, and they gave up 102 to the Cavs in game 4. So this could not be farther from the truth. Pacers do play better defense at home, but Boston defense struggling on the road, not giving up 92 points, my brother, not at all. One of the reasons why Boston's 3-1 to the under is because they don't need to score. They win about 14 points per game, only scoring 105 points. So that is not correct. Likes the Drip says, I'm loving Boston first half play. Even if Halliburton plays, he won't be 100%, and I think Tatum is waking up. They lucky Brown been awake, but I definitely think Boston's going to take the first half, and I agree there. Frankie, we're going to talk about this total in just a second. Let's jump into so real quick. Let me just go back to the total real quick. So total in this game is 222 and a half. It opened at 224 and a half, and I think it was sharp money that came in on the under. The points. So both game 1 and game 2 did go up and over the total. But game 3, like I said, it opened lower than game 2. Could that be Halliburton's injury? Potentially. Boston, like I said, they are 3-1 to the under on the road. Games are averaging just 197 points combined for the Boston Celtics. So if you like Boston, you definitely think it's an under type game. They also allow just 92 points per game. Like I said, under 92 points per game so far on the road. Now the Pacers are 4-2 to the over at home. Their 6 home games have averaged just on this number, 223 points per game, and they've actually held 3 of their 6 opponents. So one in every other opponent under their team total. They've allowed 104 points per game. So the Pacers defense has been a lot better at home. And if both teams are going to play defense in this spot, I do think it's kind of like a under type game. Boston has been playing a little bit slower. And the only strong trend that I found outside of Boston being 3-1, I mean, that's not super strong, but that's just this year Boston on the road. So I looked at if game 1 and game 2 went over, but game 3 total is lower than game 2's total. So say that one more time. So game 1 and 2 went over, but game 3's total is less than games 2 total. It's only happened 9 times throughout the Killer Sports database history, and those games are 6-3 to the under. They stand under by an average of 7.5 points. So that would say that, the game goes under today, but I'm not interested in the total in this one because I could see Boston winning with their defense. I could also see Boston just, coming out and still trying to run it up. The one thing we can't account for with the total or the side actually is how much effort does Boston put into this game? Does Boston really want to come out here, steamroll the Celtics, send a message to, whoever coming out the Western Conference, especially with a limping Tyrese Halliburton, or are they content, with being up 2-0? Granted, they got, it was a tad bit scary in game 1 and they probably should have lost, end up winning that game in overtime. But are they content being up 2-0? Or we haven't seen a Boston team that's up 2-0 because they lost both game 2s in the first round and the second round. So that's what you can't really gauge. The Pacers, it's going to be rocking, absolutely rocking. So you're going to learn a lot about the Celtics, in my opinion, here. We know the Pacers have punched back. They won game 5, won game 6 and game 7 last round when they were down 2-3 against the New York Knicks. So this game to me is more about the Celtics than it is the Pacers. We know what effort we're going to get from the Pacers, in my opinion. What effort do we get from the Celtics, though? What do you guys think about that one? Let's see. Tries to give it a break. Any thoughts on Andrew Nembhard going over his points, rebounds, and assists? Philip says. So I still believe in the strength by numbers thing, Philip. Yeah, he's going to be out there. He's going to be needed to to slow down guys, and especially if Tyrese Halliburton can't go, it'll be a lot more minutes for him and TJ McConnell. But I haven't even looked at the line, so I don't have a strong opinion here at all. Let's see what else you guys are saying here. AB says, I like the first half under and full game. Jordan says, come back and tell me that tomorrow when the Pacers win. All right, Jordan. So how many points? He says there isn't going to be any offense in this game. Okay. So how many points the Celtics scoring? I'm just curious. Mark says small bet first half. I will look at first half minus 3.5. I will look to the WNBA today, and I agree there. Chad be having me cracking up in the comments. I got to keep it pushing, man. I can't get in the back and forth today. I had a lot of stuff going on, man. Let's see. Tariq says, remember, we have a limping Luka that didn't stop him. Halliburton may suit up and push through. But don't you think the injuries are a tad bit different here, Tariq? Halliburton has a lingering hamstring injury that's already been affecting him with the back spasms, the sacrum contusion. Like this dude, Tyrese Halliburton, injury report starting to look like AI back in the day. Luka just got knee issues, man, and I don't know how much wrong with Luka knees for real. They look good to me. Luka knees looked great last night on that step back. He had a 32-point triple-double in a road game as a dog yesterday, man. I don't know. Luka different, man. He different. Tyrese Halliburton not built like that. He don't got the size, the muscle. Tyrese Halliburton game is predicated off, cuts and, getting to places and angles and, trying to get 2 feet in the paint like he always talk about to create for others. Luka's game is about being very slow and methodical and getting to his place on the floor. And once he gets there, he probably can shoot the ball with a blindfold because, it's so much, muscle memory and repetition for him. So I think I slightly disagree with this comment from Tariq, my guy Tariq. All right, let's go W. We've been talking about NBA for 30 minutes, man, and we got one game. But I do like the back and forth in the comments, man, and I like to know what you guys are looking at as well. Let's go to the W. So first game up, we got the Liberty and the Minnesota Lynx here. Let me just double check and make sure I got these lines right. I think it was at 6.5 before about an hour ago when I made these graphics, and I think it still is. Yeah, so total going up, 166.5. I see some 167s now, but the line is still sitting at 6.5 here. So transitioning over to my WNBA notes. All right. All right. Let's see. All right, here we go. All right, so injury report first and foremost. We'll start there. I didn't see anybody on the list for this New York Liberty team, and Dorcas Juhas, I think, will make her season debut for the Minnesota Lynx. She was very good last year for this team, but I'm not sure her first game back is what kind of impact she's gonna make. And Diamond Miller is also out with a knee injury. She left the game against the Connecticut Sun in their last game at halftime, never returned. She's out indefinitely. I'm not sure if she's gonna have to have surgery or not, but she hasn't played well recently. This is only they've only played a couple games so far. I think 3 games so far. But she does mean a lot to the team. They've slid her into the starting rotation. She has not done well this season. She's only averaging 4 points through her first 3 games and about 14 minutes per game. But the Lynx have they got a lot of depth. So I don't think the injury to Diamond Miller is going to mean that much, in my opinion. So I'm looking at the Liberty here. This team is 4-1 straight up, but they only covered one of their 5 spreads. So 1-4 against the number. You got them coming off 1 day's rest here, coming into a game that they lost outright 81-90. It's a 16.5 point favorite on Thursday night versus the Chicago Sky. They were home favorites in that game as well. And I'm never really looking to fade the team that's coming off a 9-point loss as a 16.5 point favorite. This will be their first road game for the Liberty. And then they come back home and they host the Phoenix Mercury on Wednesday. Now, on the Minnesota side, this team has been balling. They're 2-1 straight up on the season, 3-0 against the number. They should have won. It was a BS call on the Fisher Collier that ended up sending DeWanna Bonner to the free throw line the other day. And if you played the plus 6.5 with the Lynx, I did recommend that. They did cover that number, but the Lynx did end up losing that game. They lost in overtime as well. It was 82-83. They end up losing to the Connecticut Sun on the road. So this is the first leg of a home road back-to-back. They actually got the Dream tomorrow in Atlanta. This one was pretty simple to me, man. I know that the Lynx have been hooping. This team is really, really good. I think they probably got a bad taste in their mouth from their game 2 days ago. But I'm only looking towards the Liberty, and I like them early in this spot. I think I think a couple things I looked at. First thing I looked at was New York last season, because a lot of this roster is the same turnover. I'll see you in a few minutes. All right. Sun just popped in on me. All right. So going back to last season, right? Because like I said, I looked at last season because the Liberty's roster is pretty much the same. This team, the Liberty, coming off when they were road favorites, coming off a loss that happened 5 times last season. They were 5-0 straight up, 3-2 against the number, and it was really the first half. And that's the same thing we saw so far this year. First half, this team was a plus 14 in the first half, coming off a loss when they were road favorites. I looked at Minnesota last season, and this is a different Minnesota team. Courtney Williams has been great for them. Fee has stepped her game up, looking like the best player in the WNBA, her and Kalia Copper. But the Lynx were 2-8 straight up, 3-7 against the spread. They were -10 in the first half last season as home dogs. So I like the Liberty. I think the Liberty probably the best team in basketball. I think that they bounced back here in the first half. Minnesota played so well so far this season in their first 3 games. But New York off a loss, I think they'll be focused here. I think they'll be locked in, coming off a loss of 9 points as a 16.5-point favorite. I'm only looking towards the Liberty here in the first half. -3.5 is the best number. I think you can get it with little juice as well, like -105 on ESPN Bet. So that's the way I'm looking in this game. It's not a disrespect to the Minnesota Lynx. It's more so a play on of the Liberty coming off this game. And if they don't cover the first game, if they don't cover the first half, if the Liberty somehow don't cover the first half, which I think they've covered every first half outside of the last one against Chicago Sky, I'll take them live, because the Lynx should run out of gas here coming off that overtime game with only 1 day's rest here as well. So I'll play Liberty first half. Haven't played it yet, but I'll play Liberty first half -3.5. Let's see what you guys are thinking about this one. We got any WBA heads in the chat? Going back real quick, 1780 Guap says Holly under 4 rebounds and Derek White 2 threes. Okay. Bitsy likes Brianna Stewart. Rebounds at 8.5 and said that took her double at +120. Couldn't talk you off for that look at all. Joe the Gambler says not a big sample, but teams coming off a loss as a 15-point favorite are 1-6 against the spread. Miscovering by average of 7.93 points per game, almost 8 points. Okay. I looked at something similar, Joe, but mine was, I don't know what I looked at. It was a lot different than that. Chad, Chad, if you ever want to do a show, Chad, you just let me know. Chad be on fire in the chat, man. He says he's 36-16 year to date. He likes the Mercury -1. Still like it at the 3 as well. We're gonna get into that game in a second. He also says Liberty coming off a loss. First half was a wagon last year. Says still Lynx or nothing. Fee out here balling. Same with the Aces, like 70-80% first half coming off a loss. We're gonna get into that game in a second. Left Lane says the Liberty are gonna. It's just a matter of the Lynx can keep up and have been playing good defense to start the year, and the Lynx have been covering. Yeah, that's a fact. They are 3-0. Lynx are 3-0 against the spread so far. 1780 Guap says Indy -1, Kia Nurse over 11.5, Leah Boston under 8.5. That must have been from yesterday. Oh no, they do play today, but the Kia Nurse don't play today. Sparks don't play today, right? Yeah, Sparks off today. So I don't know where this coming from, Guap. Truth says I'm taking the points with Minnesota. Could not talk you off. I just don't like that they're coming off the overtime game. Gail says I love NECA. Ezzy Magabor boards today with no Shakira Austin today. Book sleeping. Shh, don't tell nobody. We got to get to that game, and I ain't play it yet. But I did see she's not with the team. A lot of people probably don't even know that yet. Cool. Okay. What if you add road favorite in here, Joe? I think that might have been what I did. So previous loss and the previous line was -15. I think I looked at double digits though. So my line was like previous loss and previous line was -10. I think is what I looked at. Okay. Chad said he's cashing. He's been killing in the W. All right, let's keep it pushing. Liberty first half for me -3.5. Think that they come back, fired up off that loss against the Chicago Sky in that last game. All right, so next game up, we got the Connecticut Sun and the Chicago Sky. This line looks like it opened at 6. And it's still about 6 right now. I see some 6.5s out there. total open, according to the Wager Talk live screen, opened at 157, and it's up 3 points in some books, up to 150, 160, 159 and a half. You guys see 159 on the screen. Rachel Brandon is listed as questionable. I think she came back in her last game after she got the concussion a couple days ago. Diamond DeShields is also listed as questionable for the Chicago Sky with a foot injury here. So Connecticut has been really, really good at winning games. They have not done so good at covering numbers, and they are one of the better WNBA teams. If not, definitely I would say top 3 team in the W. 4-0 straight up, but just 1-3 against the numbers so far. They're also 3-1 to the over. They're coming into this game against Chicago Sky off 1 day's rest, and like I said, they were the team that beat the Minnesota Lynx in the last game. Chicago has been pretty impressive, man. I talked about Chicago catching these points. I'm only going to be looking towards Chicago. I think that I keep saying the same thing. I think they're going to play, continue to play really, really hard for Coach Weatherspoon. They're 2-1 straight up, 2-0-1 against the spread. They're coming in off 1 day's rest as well. They did win by 9 points, 9-point win against the Liberties as a 16.5-point dog is what that game closed at. Connecticut ranks 4th in offense. Chicago ranks 3rd in defense. I think this could be much more of a defensive style game. I don't like the total going up. I do think that it opened a tad bit too low. Like 157 is a tad bit too low. I see Connecticut squeaking out a win here. I don't like that they're coming off an overtime game. Favorites actually coming off an overtime game with just 1 day's rest are 32-39 against the spread, only covering about 45% with an average line of 6.5, which is close here. They're winning by an average of 2 points. So I'll be looking towards the home dog here, thinking that the Chicago Sky will be able to keep this one close as well. If I can get a 6.5, I'll probably be there with it. So that's my quick analysis here on this game. Yeah, I know Connecticut is really, really good, but like I said, they haven't been covering big numbers, so only looking towards the Sky in this game. Let's see. Looks like no comments came in here. 11-10, he says. Chad says, your son on a team to win by margin. Typically on the road. Anyway, not this style, Sky, nothing. And me and Chad on the same side here. All right, keep it pushing. I think we got 2 more games to get to real quick. Actually, we got 3 more games to get to. It's gonna be a long show, man. All right, so we got the Mystics and the Storm. This was a pretty simple one for me. Seattle has not really been covering. They are just 2-3, both straight up and against the spread on the road. But if we go to the injury report, Brittany Sykes will remain out. I think this will be her 3rd game she's missed in a row for the Washington Mystics here. Shakira Austin also not with the team for personal reasons. That came out yesterday, and this line started to get beat up a little bit because this opened, I think, at 8, and now it's up to 9, pretty much across the board. These home favorites have not been covering, man. They have not been covering, which is why I can't lay a point. I think just wait and you take the Mystics if you want to play the spread. If you want the Storm, I do think you probably want to play them early. The Mystics are going to continue to scrap. They're going to continue to fight. They're 0-5 so far on the season, straight up. I think they're the last team. Now that the Indiana Fever won yesterday, I think they're the last team without a win. 0-5 straight up, but they are 3-1-1 against the number. They are playing their 3rd game on the West Coast road trip. And they're down 2 important starters here, like we talked about with Shakira Austin and Brittany Sykes. Seattle's coming off 2 days rest here, so a tad bit more rested. And a 2-point win against the Indiana Fever, but they, like I said, they couldn't cover. It was a 5-point spread, and they could not cover. These WNBA games have been super competitive, so if you can get 2-possession game, typically you can cash. Seattle did just beat the Washington Mystics on Sunday in DC. They beat them 84-75, beat them by 9. That was without Nneka, and that gave them their first win of the season. So if I had to play this one, I would be looking towards Seattle first half. I think the better teams typically play better in the first half. I think you can get a 4.5 right now. It's a little bit of juice on it on ESPN Bet, but that's the way I would play this one. I do think the Mystics can keep this game close late. Seattle still being priced as a super team, and just hasn't really put together that one, super strong performance where they won by 15, 20 points based on the roster that they have. So I think I would be taking the points with the Mystics here late, seeing what the line goes to, and I would also be looking towards if I like the Storm, I want to get in and get out, play them first half. Should be a good number there. Let's see what you guys are saying about. Also, real quick, I do want to touch on Seattle team total over 83.5. I think that could get there. I think the Mystics are going to continue to play with. They haven't really been able to score the basketball, but Seattle's offense eventually has to break through. And I think if they ever going to break through, I think it will be in a home game. I think it will be against a team like the Washington Mystics, who will be scrappy, but also without Shakira Austin, I see a lot of points being scored inside. NECA should absolutely feast in this game. So look at towards, I forgot I wrote this down, Seattle team total over 83.5. It could just be that easy to play Seattle and think that they're going to be able to score the basketball. Maybe a look towards their first half team total over as well, if you think that they could struggle to score in the second half, because we see a lot of regression sometimes from these teams from a first half to a second half angle. So I think a look towards Seattle team total over as well. Chad says Mystics are so damn scrappy. He says they will fight and claw and cover. Vinci says not liking this. Not even Lloyd 5 rebounds. I'll sit this one out. Chad says Storm to win. Storm win 1-10 could be best. And I think that's a good one too. I don't think it's gonna be. I don't think that they're gonna win by double digits. I would probably invest in this one right here, Chad. Like the Drip says, I really need to learn WNBA markets. What up to my guy Frey? Says good show. Definitely gave out some winners. Love that Chicago pick. Okay. Chad says a plus 150 for Seattle to win 1-10. If you guys aren't using this market, you should. I agree, especially in the WNBA with the games being closer. And that's a fact, man. Like we talk about the Dogs, they've been covering at a very high rate so far this WNBA season. Real quick, let me just double check that. Let me see what that number is now. You know what? I ain't gonna prolong the show. I'll just keep it where we are. But yeah, they have been doing really, really good. I would agree with this. Joe says teams winless after game 5 are 22 in 12 against the spread, 18-9 against the spread if they're dogs, 10-3 if they're road dogs. Wow, this definitely says take the Mystics plus the points. Difficult to do without Shakira Austin and Brittany Sykes, not two of their best. They're two best defenders, but it makes a ton of sense here, especially if you think Seattle going to continue to struggle. Appreciate you sharing that, Joe. Jabari says, damn, Washington basketball is bad with both the men and the women. Yeah, you need Elena Deladon back, man. You definitely need Shakira Austin in there, and no Natasha Cloud now either. I would go out and venture and say the Mystics still better than the Wizards, though, because I'm probably going to take my son to see a Mystics game this season. I'm not taking him to DC to see the Washington Wizards, though. That's not something I'm willing to invest in. What up to my guy, Sai? And Left Lane says he's taking the points with the Sky as well today. Only way I would look in that game. Let's keep it pushing. We got 2 more games to get to real quick. Next game up, we got the Indiana Fever and the Las Vegas Aces. This one was pretty easy for me as well. And yesterday, when we did the show, this line was at 12.5. And I said, man, Fever probably going to get smoked today, but I could see them, potentially winning. I didn't play the game yesterday. And Fever fought back. They ended up winning that second half. I want to say by like 8 or 10 points. They were down by like 10. I think it might have been a little bit more than 10 at halftime last night. They fight all the way back, win the third quarter, win the fourth quarter, and now it's a terrible spot for them. The Indiana Fever is the second leg of a back-to-back. They're coming off their first win of the season, just 1-5 straight up. But they have covered 4 of their 6 spreads, 4-2 against the number to start the season. It's a terrible spot, like I said. Outside of it being a back-to-back, it's also a third game in 4 nights. It's a fourth game in 6 nights as well, and they played more games than any other team in the W so far. This is their 6th game, whereas you have like the Aces, they've only played 3 games so far. The Dream have only played 3 games. The Sky, the Lynx, the Wings only played 3 games. The schedule makers did not do Indiana any favors by giving them the Connecticut Sun twice and giving them the New York Liberty to start the season, or giving them 6 games. This will be their 7th game, where only the 4th game, like I said, for a lot of these other teams as well. So terrible spot for the Fever here. Now, with that being said, the Aces have not covered a 15.5-point number this season. Matter of fact, this team is 0-3 against the number, 2-1 against the spread. They are coming off a 10-point loss as a 13.5-point favorite. 3 days off to kind of let all that loss kind of sit in. The Mercury came in there, absolutely beat them up from start to finish in that last game. 3 days to kind of get things corrected. This is also their 4th straight home game, so typically a spot you want to back them in. And they don't have another game until Wednesday, so they literally can go all out for this game as well. And it feels like they could be in a better, in a bit of a bounce back spot here. I do think they bounce back. I honestly think it's going to be defensively. When I looked into the Aces, their offense is still the number 2 offense in the WNBA. They're right behind the New York Liberty. I'm sorry, right behind the Connecticut Sun. The Connecticut Sun actually got the best offense. Well, they're all tied. So Connecticut, Aces, and Liberty all tied for the best offense. The difference between the Connecticut Sun, the New York Liberty, and then the Aces is the defensive rating. The Aces defense is a 103.6 defensive rating. That's actually the second worst defensive rating in the WNBA. And I think that you get a Fever team playing third game in 4 nights, 4th and 6th, coming off their first win. I think the Aces really turn up here defensively, especially with having the rest advantage here. There's a lot of different ways you can play this game, in my opinion. I honestly think early is probably the best spot, even though the Fever should run out of gas late. First quarter, the Aces are -4.5, -5 on most books, but you can get a 4.5 on Bet365 at -115. Aces first half team total over. I do think that they're going to be able to score against the Fever. You can get their first half team total at 48.5. Aces first half against the number, it was 8.5, and it should still be there. And I would also look towards the Fever to be able to struggle to score here as well. Fever team total sitting at 78.5 for the full game. So a lot of different ways you can play this game. I'm not quite sure how I'm going to play it, but I will have some money here on the Aces in this game today. Just trying to figure out how I want to play it, because I really do like all the angles that I just talked about. And let's see what you guys are seeing in this one. That's a fact, Chad. She definitely does it all. Sykes is like a Kawhi Leonard almost. I mean, not as scoring wise, but she definitely fills the stat sheet for sure. Left Lane says Connecticut only played one game, one good team. I like this guy. So a lot of people liking this guy today. Bitsy likes Kelsey Plum over her threes here at 3.5 for 1 unit. He's taking the 4 and putting 0.75 units on that at plus 225. And he's taking the 5, putting a half unit on that. He says she's splashing right now. These will be juiced after this game. Excuse me. I like the look, Bitsy. Immediately, the first thing that I think about is Jewel Lloyd struggling through her first couple games. And what does Jewel Lloyd do in her last game? When she finally gets a chance to play the Fever, she comes out and has 21 points in the first half. So exactly what you needed was this Fever's defense. And Fever's defense has been let's see, have they been the worst or the second worst? Fever defense has been the worst in the WNBA. 109.5 defensive rating. And to put that in perspective, the Aces defense has been the second worst, and theirs is a 103. So we're looking at a 6-point differential there. Also playing on the second leg of a back-to-back, third game in 4 nights, fourth game in 6 nights. And I think it's like a 5th game in some nights too. I can't remember how many nights, but like I said, it should be a terrible spot for the Fever here. I do think that they struggle, and Kelsey Plum to knock down some 3-pointers makes a lot of sense here. AB says full game under for him. Chad says Aces don't look right at all. They need Chelsea Gray back, and I would agree with that. He says this is their get right game, though. Aces first half is the play, and we are aligned there, Chad. Like to see that. Jabari says this break in the Aces schedule are insane, and I agree, man. They got some all of their games have been at home. The Aces have played every game at home. None of them back-to-backs, and they still 0-3 against the spread. It's pretty crazy so far for the Aces. Shay says Aces should use this game to get right. I agree with that. My boy Sai says Jewel Lloyd went crazy that last game in the first half. He says I bet her under and she torched me. Yeah, Sai, you can't bet her under against the Fever. You don't really want to bet too many unders against the Fever. I could also see I could also see what's my girl name? Man, why can't I think of her name? Let me go to my WNBA numbers real quick. I could also see, who am I thinking about? Asia Wilson. I don't know why I can't think of her name. I could also see Asia having a really good game down there against Aaliyah Boston tonight. Like I could definitely see that as well. Fever defense hasn't been good in the paint either. They've been giving up a bunch of points in the paint. De'Erica Hamby last night, and now you get Asia Wilson tonight. Best of luck. That's a really tough spot. All right, let's get into the last game on the board. So we got the Dallas Wings and the Phoenix Mercury. This line opened at 1 is what I saw that. And now it's up to 3.5. So a lot of money coming in here on the Mercury. Total also going up just a tad bit. I saw it open at 165, 166 and a half. And it's up to 167 here. Yeah, want to double check that. So injury report. Silk Sutton for the Phoenix Mercury is a game time decision. She listed as questionable. Brittany Griner will continue to miss. She hasn't played a game in this season so far. I think the Phoenix Mercury played 4 games so far. She's missed all 4. And then on the opposite side for the visiting Dallas Wings, Satu Sabali and Natasha Howard remain out as well. I think Jayla Brown also will miss this game as well. So they're down 3 key players, in my opinion, here. You get a Dallas team that is coming off 3 days rest. They're coming off a loss versus the Dream in Atlanta, a game that I picked wrong because I liked Atlanta early. Atlanta ended up coming back and winning that game. Super frustrating loss there. Actually, the only loss so far this WNBA season. And this is the first leg of a back-to-back. The Dallas Wings also have the Sparks tomorrow. They got a game in LA against the Sparks tomorrow. And for Phoenix, this team has won 3 straight in a row. They are 3-1 straight up and against the spread. They failed to cover in their last game against the visiting Washington Mystics just a couple days ago. But it's the second straight home game for them with a game against the Connecticut Sun scheduled sometime next week. So Mercury in a really, really good spot here. Both teams a little bit rested, but the Mercury can go a little bit more all out than the Dallas Wings can. Just because the Mercury don't have to play tomorrow where the Dallas Wings do. And the Dallas Wings going to continue to have to travel. So looking into this game, I kind of like the total to go over. It is sitting at 167. You need both teams to get to about 84, 85 points. And I feel like that can happen. The Mercury are playing super fast. Both of these teams playing super fast. These are the 2 fastest paced teams in the W so far. Phoenix is 5th in offensive rating. They're playing a lot faster without having to get Brittany Griner established in at all, like in the post, because she hasn't been out there. Kalia Copper has been absolutely on fire. Like, she's been crushing it. And defensively, Phoenix is the 3rd worst defense as well. They're literally just getting up and down the floor. Defensive rating is a 103, though. They're right up there with the Aces as far as how bad they've been playing defensively. The Aces, the Fever, only 2 teams is worse than them defensively right now. And I think that both teams should be able to score here. Dallas isn't top 5 in either offense or defense rating, but without Satu Sabali and without Natasha Howard, they still have been able to score the basketball. So I kind of looked at this game and, immediately thought, I don't want to trust the Wings on the road. So if you could have got that one, I think Chad shouted it out earlier. I do think that was the best play in the game. Can they win by multiple possessions? Potentially, but we also saw the Fever. We also saw this Mercury team fail to cover just the other day against a much weaker Washington Mystics team. So I don't like the 3.5 as much, but if you can, probably take the Mercury on the money line and parlay them with something else, you should be able to. Mercury and somebody else on the money line should be a pretty good look. Maybe even get some plus money. Just kind of reduce the juice for the Phoenix Mercury here. I do think that they are the right side and they win the game, but I don't want to lay the 3.5 when you could have got a 1. And like I said, WNBA games have been super competitive, but I do like the over. One more thing I want to talk about with the over, maybe it's just Mercury team total over. Since the 2020 season, I looked at Road Dogs playing on the first leg of a back-to-back. They are 7-2 to the over. To me, that trend says that, they play a little bit more offense and save some defense because they are on the first leg of a back-to-back. So they probably just want to get up and down the floor. That would be the spot for the Dallas Wings today. So maybe a Mercury team total over. But I think that Dallas Wings should be able to score here as well. So full game over to 167 would be my play in this game. Let's see what you guys are saying here. I see you, SP. Just joined as a member. Appreciate that. He says, Chris just joined as a member. Appreciate what you do. When do you usually post your plays? All throughout the day, SP. It really just whenever I play it is when I send it out. But I come on here and I talk about lanes that I like and ways that I would play the game. Sometimes I find things throughout the day that kind of talk me off of my play, whether it's the injury report or just a different angle that I've researched. But just whenever I typically like to play super late. I don't like to play a lot of plays early. But it's a couple of things that I want to play right now. If I think the line's gonna move against me, will move in my favor, I want to get it in early. Matt says first aces blowout this season. Did you see back in Asia after practice interview? They ready for Clark tonight. Yeah, I did see that. They're gonna hound her tonight, man, which is why I kind of like Aces first quarter. I know that the number is super big. I typically don't play, first quarters -4.5. But 4.5, I think, is a really good number minus 8.5 for the first half, I think is a really good number as well. I think the Fever in a world of trouble here. I really, really do. Left Lane says, I'm taking the Mystics after that loss. Jabari says the game is at 1 p.m. and the rest at 8. These schedule makers need to be fired. Yeah, WNBA has always been like that. Chad says this play of the day is the -1 for the Mercury here. Bitsy likes Asia Wilson, 20 points. And hold on, is this Asia Wilson? AJ, 20 points and 10 rebounds. Have been my go-to since last season. Forgot to mention that. Okay. Mark says, can tell you really like WNBA. Mark and Chris, thanks for showing that. Yeah, I think, and you got to get to the lines. You got to get like the early games. It's when you kind of want to be locked in, especially if you think you're on the right side, and you got to, some slight, a slight edge on what the market is, proposing. AB likes the Mercury on the money line and Kalia Copper over her points. No way I could talk you off that. I think she's coming off back-to-back 35-plus point games. Basically says he likes Natasha Cloud over 6.5 assists and could sprinkle on her double-double. I know she did. I think she got a double-double in her last game. She was close to a triple-double at plus 480, Bissy says. Okay. Gabe says FanDuel has it at -3. Pinnacle has it at 3.5. I like to follow the sharp lines, and I couldn't agree there at all. Does Gimme the Dog charge for his services? So Gimme the Dog does charge for MLB this season, I think, and for WNBA. And I do pay for Gimme the Dog. I share all the knowledge with you guys for free, but yeah, Gimme the Dog is like $50 for the whole season. So, I mean, not saying that that's a lot of money or not a lot of money, but just, because it all just kind of depends on how much you're willing to pay. But yeah, I need the numbers though. So I do pay for Gimme the Dog. It's like $50 a month. And they don't pay me to promote them, but I just think the service is so dope. So I do talk about them a lot. Matt, my Twitter is the same thing as my YouTube handle. ChrisBeCappinn, 2 P's and 2 N's. And that's the last W game, man. So just recapping everything that we talked about so far. Short list here. Boston, like I said, first half, I think that they're still locked in here. I would play the -2.5. The Liberty, definitely think that they're going to be locked in coming off that loss against Chicago Sky, -3.5 in the first half. Chicago Sky, only looking towards them for the full game against the Connecticut Sun, plus the 6.5 if you can get it. I like the Aces in a lot of different ways, but I do think that first quarter is probably my favorite look, -4.5. Thinking that they may be up double digits at the end of the first quarter against the Indiana Fever today. And Seattle, I talked about them. First half, -4.5 for no Shakira Austin, no Brittany Sykes. And a team total over 83.5. I think is a way to play the game and stay away from the spread if you don't think that they're going to cover in this game. So yeah, that's the show, man. I've been on here for over an hour. Do me one favor if you can. Hit that like button. Share the show if you guys can as well. Resources that I use are always going to be listed on this page towards the end of the show. You guys can see Give Me the Dog here, Killer Sports, Clean the Glass if I'm looking at NBA stuff. And always going to shout out OddsJam for the sports betting software that they provide for myself and others. If you guys are interested in checking out their software, you can sign up. You can cancel at any time. Use code CBC if you guys do sign up, though, to get you 25% off your first month. A lot of great information over there and resources that you can use for your sports betting, your sports betting knowledge and, just being able to make really good choices over there. So yeah, that's the end of the show, man. Like the video if you can, subscribe, share, all that good stuff. Link for all my official plays will be in the description as they always are. If you guys are interested in, signing up and becoming members, bet responsibly. Best of luck, and I'll catch you guys in the next one, man. Enjoy your Saturday, and I'm out.